move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is the election of Board of Public Works Officers. If we move that we keep the same rotation, and Ken Bryan would be president, Steve Mills vice president, Rick Jacoby would be secretary, and Chuck Hines would be a member.
Second. I guess I'd make that motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
New president.
Jeff? Jeff, you on the phone?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, minutes of the previous meetings. Everybody had a chance to review those.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Business from the audience, we got any?
Joe's, yeah, here for discussion about something.
Do we wanna do that now, or?
Wait until we get to it.
Okay. It's great to see, we have a wonderful safety record. 0 reportable injuries for the year. That's wonderful. No incidents this past period, so we can move right into reports. Travis, looks like you're up first.
Morning.
Morning.
I do have one action item for you guys this morning. It's the annual well treatment maintenance project. It is a budgeted item. We did get 2 proposals on that, as you can see. And looking at the 2 and reviewing them, with C&B equipment, they've had some personnel changes, things like that, they said, from our previous year's experience with them. But I'm still kind of leery with that. And with talking with Flynn, they said they added another treatment trailer, things like that, and that were earlier this year, they could start the project within 30 days. And we've had really good luck with them over the years that we've used them. And when they get here, they get to it and get the job done. So my recommendation is a motion to accept the proposal from Flynn Drilling Company for $95,373.
I think we learned from our experience with Unit 6 that if we're not comfortable with companies or contractors or whatever, that it may be worth a little bit extra to get the right people.
And the other thing is we're still $25,000 under budget.
Correct.
Even with the 95.
So I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Flynn Drilling Company for $95,373.
I'll second that motion.
The motion has been made and seconded to accept the proposal from Flynn Drilling Company for $95,373. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Don't really have anything else to add other than what's in the packet, but I'd be happy to answer questions if you have any.
I'm glad to see they're working on the LED upgrades. They still on that when they can.
Yes. There's not a whole lot left. We did have to order some more fixtures. I think up at the maintenance shop, they kind of forgot about it. So we ordered new fixtures. Part of them are in, and yeah, they're not too far from being done with the mechanic shop, the north, and a couple other rooms, and that should be it. So, wrap it up.
Good deal. I also wanted to say, thank you guys for harping on safety all the time with your crews. Please continue to do that. It makes a huge difference just to our insurance payments and everything else, and it goes a long way into giving raises and everything else when it comes on. Our mod rate right now is, what's it at? 0.74. It's amazing. Just pass along that we're super happy with everyone and just try to keep that in the forefront of everyone's mind. Took it off my box. Thank you.
Is there anything else for Travis? If not, Eric, good morning.
Morning. Just one update. Did hear back from the contractor on installing the new blower. Just need to go through some things with our electricians on the electro side, make sure there's no damage there, and then we'll be ready to push that forward and get that installed. Other than that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
You had issues with that impeller before? On pump two?
Yes. So it's at FTC now, and they're going through it because we could not find. Everything seemed to spin freely. There wasn't anything locking up in it, so they took it and they're gonna take it apart and go through it.
You got a short list. That's nice. Anything else for Eric? If not, thank you, Eric. Jim, good morning.
Morning. Well, and what's in the packet, we are expecting, to send out some bids for stuff down the junction. Probably the next 2 board meetings, we'll have 1 bid opening each, so that'll be starting to roll down there hopefully soon. Lunds is talking about starting construction in February sometime, and they don't want us on the property until they get some trees cleared. So, we should have some bids coming back here next meeting and the meeting after for some stuff down there. Other than that, not much to add. Everyone's still back. Unless you got any questions?
Any questions for Jim? Looks like Jim's got a good list.
Most of the grant stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Grant stuff going back a couple of years.
Yeah.
Sure, at the end of the project, we'll clean it all up.
Yeah.
Get an actual.
Various stages of completion and submission to the USDA and
Anything else for Jim? Thank you, Jim. Grant, good morning.
Morning, John. Just a couple updates. We are on hold with spreading line right now. Weather's kind of put us off, so it's a little muddy to be spreading. I think we approximately got 2,000 tons spread this winter so far, so that's going along pretty good. And the influenza trade report is complete. It'll be sent to DNR with Eric's stuff at the end of the month. And that's all we got.
So I do have to ask, we had a water main break out there on 65, right?
Yes.
Area that's had several. So is that area across that residential property, has that all been replaced with plastic?
No, most of the replacements there went back to ductile because of the depth and we had really a pipe at the time. There's a lot of it. I don't know exactly the footage. There's not much remaining in that yard that's old.
So that's my question is, when it's failing, it's not what we've replaced, is it what's been there for a long time? And so I guess because of the problems we've had, what if we go, and I don't know what it would take, to go ahead and replace the old for several, I don't know how many, maybe 100 yards or whatever, past their property. So if it does fail again, it doesn't fail on that property.
A lot of times that decision is made for time restraints, the amount of time the water's been off and availability of crew members for the 69 days. And we do, when time allows, we do, like the 2 times ago, we did put in like 25 feet at one time. I know it's new from the gravel road through the culvert. We actually, this main break was hooked to new pipe on what I call the north side of the culvert. So there's new pipe completely through there. And I don't know exactly, I'd have to investigate exactly how much footage of news been in there. So I know since roughly 19, we've had, 2019, we've had several in that area, so I'd have to.
And that's kind of my reasoning is I know we want to eventually replace the whole line, but in the short term, you know, replace at least a lot of that area through there. So, you know, because that always seems to be the spot that causes, you know, as far as insurance claims and crew having to go, you know, make repairs and restore what's there.
Is there an elevation change through there, or? I mean,
Yes.
there seems to be something that makes that more vulnerable than.
So with talking with engineers in the master plan, right past that property, it starts up a hill, and that's the low area.
That's why it's.
And a lot of times, I think the engineers kind of agreed with us, Travis and I, when we discussed it. A lot of times if we're not online, water sits on that hill, or if we've just got offline, and District 2 starts pulling, District 2 can actually pull out of our main. And that gets water coming back towards the plant. And then if we fire up, we send water that way, and that's where the two flows meet, and that water hammer occurs in that area. And that is a total assumption of just knowing the system, and the engineers seem to agree with that, some of that. And some of it is the sizing of the line. We're not able to run the water plant at full capacity with the size of that line. That's part of the master plan too. We are most likely going to upsize that when we go back to better help the water plant produce water and get water to town.
Or some discussion that they may be looking at upsizing to 16 versus 12.
Yeah, it's 14 and 16 are the two sizes that we're looking at. Now, we're trying to stay under having to put a booster station back in and add cost. If you get too big, the volume, you have to pick that water back up. It doesn't have enough velocity to get to town. So that's the teeter-totter we're trying to balance right now.
The other question is the master plan itself. You know when you have it?
Amanda reached out Tuesday, and we're trying to find availability for the next update meeting. We've got all the hydraulic stuff to them. They are, first and foremost, looking at the cost analysis for the 12-inch replacement. It's moving along pretty good, and we haven't had any requests for information. We've sent them a ton, but we hadn't had a request for any for some time.
We did want to advise if we could, you know, depending on whatever size, if it is 16, can you just replace a portion of that 12 with a 16-inch line and have a 12 and then 16 and then maybe back to 12? We did want to get an answer to that.
That would be the first. I have reached out this morning. The holidays kind of slowed connections down.
Okay.
But I have reached out to them, and we have mentioned that to them, and they are looking in to see if that's feasible or not.
Okay.
That'll solve the issue.
In that area, anyway. If we, perfect situation, if we could start there and replace that first, would be optimal.
And I know at one point we did kind of talk about maybe rerouting around it. I don't know if that's still an option or not.
That's being taken into consideration too.
So the master plan, we're talking about going around
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking into that, yes.
But if a 16-inch solves that problem, then we don't need to circumvent the property.
Yeah, that's the two things we're looking at.
We talked about new easements and all that kind of stuff at that point.
If new 16-inch is more feasible than going around and getting new easements, and what that adds to flow restrictions, adding the extra pipe in the turns, and there's a lot of feasibility there to see if if going around that property adds a booster station.
Hopefully we'll have some answers when we get the master plan back.
We should.
Okay.
Anything else? Not, thank you, Grant. Dick's got better looking.
Morning, everybody. At this time, I don't have anything to add to the board packet. But if you have any questions that I could answer, I'll be glad to.
Looks like things are progressing out at the new church.
Yeah, come along. Yeah, we got the transformer set for them. Got them some temporary power out there.
Nice to see that construction finally underway.
Where are we at with our pole use agreement?
Not real sure on that. Doug hadn't kept me in the loop on that too much.
Might jump in on that one. You just went
Yeah,
quick.
it's, I'll go ahead and jump in, Steve. Yeah, it's kind of on the back burner with some of these, more pressing agreements with, MEC for the Marshall Energy Center. It's, and we're trying to get an internal agreement, between, broadband and, electric distribution, to kind of shore that up as well. And I've got that done. It needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, I was just looking at older stuff out there.
Yeah, no, that's, and we've had trouble with a couple of those really getting back with us and partaking in the process. It's been a little bit like pulling teeth. So,
Yeah.
it's gonna take an effort to get through that. And, with all this other work we've got going on, it's just, not taking priority right now.
All right.
Anything else? Thank you. Jerry, I guess you're up.
Morning.
Morning.
I do have a couple updates for you. As of yesterday, we do have heat in the recycle building. Beerman's actually finished about a week ago, and they went to start it up, and they couldn't get enough gas to it. Finally found out with some testing that we had a regulator in the pipe yard over by the truck scale that was not working correctly. So we communicated with USDI, and they helped us get that problem fixed. Got that finished up the first part of this week, and Beerman's were back yesterday and started it. And this morning I went out there and it was still running, and it was nice and warm there. So good. It seems to be working good. The other thing, I had budgeted for this year batteries for Unit 6. We had a couple cells that had gone bad this last year, and the electricians recommended that I may think about that. They were replaced in 2015, and they should last about 15 years. So we were going to be a little early on that. The electricians did some more digging on that, and they found a flame arrestor that was bad. And they replaced that, and that seems to have fixed our problem. And they think that was more of the issue than the batteries themselves. So we're kind of hoping we may push that battery for Unit 6 down the road a few years. Maybe get closer to that 15 years out of what we got. So that's all I got. She got any questions?
So has that regulator problem caused any issues anywhere else?
No, it shouldn't have.
Okay.
Anything else for Jerry? Thanks, Jerry.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. I don't really have anything to add. What's in the packet? Be happy to answer.
You went to that financing workshop.
I did.
And what did you say? How many utilities or how many?
There's 200 attending,
200 attendants, and their total requests were
$11 billion
$11 billion.
just in water.
Right.
Any other questions for Tony? Looks like we may have some late. Thank you, Manny. Megan, good morning.
Good morning. I'm not going to add to what's in the packet. Do want to thank the board for your comments and observations on safety. I know everybody appreciates that you all care about that, and we appreciate everybody's efforts. It's a commendable achievement. But that's all I got. Be happy to answer questions.
Questions for Megan? I think that's the shortest. Usually have 2 or 3 pages.
If you prefer this is easier. I can keep this up.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Jeff, good morning.
Morning, Jim.
Morning, gentlemen. I do have one action item this morning. It's for the construction manager for the Customer Connect Center. SOA did send out on our behalf a request for qualifications, and we did receive 5 responses to that. We met to review those responses and select a construction manager for interview. After that review, we selected Septagon. We did have an interview with them. SOA was down for that. And based on that interview, we're going to recommend Septagon for the construction manager for that project. Chuck participated in both those meetings, the review of the responses we received, and then our interview with Septagon. I believe Joe was there, so you guys would like to ask him any questions, have at it. Thank you, Joe, for being here, and I think if we select him, they will do a really good job for us.
Perfect. Joe, you want to say? Welcome.
Yeah, no, I've had a relationship with you guys, since I've been in the construction consultant role for a while. So, time and time again, I've, we've done RFPs instead of RFQs. So, I'm excited about, entering this process with you guys, because I think in the past we haven't been able to show you our value on that side. We've just been able to give you proposals. But now, getting, to work with SOA and, work towards the project, I think you'll get to see even more of our value.
Joe, could you talk just a little bit about timeline? What you think,
Yeah.
would be good?
So one thing that it was kind of discussed at the end of that, the interview there was, a pre-engineered metal buildings, 4 or 5 months. I think that we can keep the complexity of the pre-engineered down to that. If we get into anything complex, we could go 6 to 8. But right now the phase that you guys are entering with us is just pre-construction. So the request right now isn't even a guaranteed max. Right now it's just pre-construction, working with SOA to work on schedule, everything else. But we believe getting a July start. We believe getting a July start, ordering that building will have us in there by the October timeframe next year. I know that seems like a long duration, but you guys also understand your process. So you guys will decide today, to approve or not to approve, and then you take it to the city, and then my understanding, then you have to take it to another reading. So getting started on some of this, getting started on that, sometimes takes a little bit of time with you guys. So I think, Dennis Paul worked with me on this to build the schedule, and I think that's where Dennis kind of based some of his, if at all possible, the way that the contract that we sent to SOA for you guys to review, they've reviewed it and then sent it to you guys for review. We've written it in such that if it comes a time that we see schedules a problem, we've got it for you guys can approve, maybe ordering the building earlier, taking steps as necessary to keep this on schedule, to get you guys in there when you need to be in there. It sounded like in the meeting, the fall time wasn't a terrible time for you guys to move. It wasn't in the heat of the summer and it wasn't in the cold of the winter. But if we can get a building, get things rolling in that July timeframe, definitely it'll be the process going all the way through there. Do I think it could be improved? I think it will be improved some, but right now, knowing where we're starting working and the process, we think this is the best schedule right now. To kind of answer what you're wanting, Chuck.
Yeah, and just the other thing, maybe just touch a little bit. So Septagon, you will go out and hire several subcontractors.
Yeah.
And you all will kind of be the.
Yep. So through this process, we will work with SOA. We'll put in together an initial estimate on I think it's February, first week of February. We'll go through in more detail and we'll break it out in detail so they can compare their notes, because hopefully they've done the same thing. And then after that, they'll go through some discovery with you. They'll go through design drawings, and they'll take those drawings to a 50%, and then we'll update it at that point. To tell you if you're at 5.5 or if you're at 5.8, 5.9, and then we'll just continue that update. And then middle of May, the way we have the schedule laid out, middle of May is when you'll have bid documents come out, and then that's when we'll go out. We'll solicit MEPs, we'll solicit masons, we'll get the building pricing in, and things like that. And then we'll bring those to you, or we won't bring them to you. We will open those with you. We'll be there to facilitate with you. So I think that the RFP required me to have. So I'm going to bid on the pre-engineered, I'm going to bid on electrical, I'm going to bid on miscellaneous carpentry package, installing doors and hardware. I think the RFQ stated that I have to turn those in. Do you remember? Was it 24 hours before?
Yeah, I don't remember.
So more or less, I have to have it on. I have to bring it up here the day before and lay it on the table for you guys, and then the next day it'll be be sealed still. But then anybody else, electricians will bring their bids in, HVAC will bring their bids, and then we'll open those together. Thank everybody for coming. We'll go back and review them, and then we'll have a recommendation, and then it could come down to similar deal like Travis had. It's like we had 3 bids at 200,000. We had this one at 115. We don't know a whole lot about them. We've requested a little more information, but we would recommend going with the 199 bid, not the 115. And then, because ultimately, and the reason that we give that recommendation is, in the past, when you've done CMA, construction manager, agency, you guys hold those contracts. So you would hold the contract. You would hold the contract with the electrician. That's the difference in this construction manager at risk versus the CMA, construction manager agency, is we actually hold those contracts. So you hold one contract with us, and once we give you the guaranteed max price, that's the max price. Unless there's scope change where you guys say, hey, we want to add 10,000 square foot of concrete, or something like that comes up. So.
Septagon worked with SOA before?
Yes.
Okay. That good process.
Yeah.
Easy to work, communicate.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, remind me, when was the guaranteed maximum price? When you guys feel like you'd have that completed, and because that will be the next phase that we need for approval. What's the timeline?
6.4 is what we had on the schedule.
Okay.
I didn't print a bunch of those schedules out, Jeff. You said they were going to ask simple questions.
And I did get the contract from Jen, so we're working on that review.
Okay. But working with SOA, we worked with them out of our Columbia office, and they worked as an an architect, a representative for that project. Forget. I think it was a water treatment facility over there, or it was a water district is what we built over there. It was a maintenance building or something, but everything went well. Because I checked with our Columbia office before. I checked with them, made sure it was a good process before I put them down in the packet. So. And I had Dennis Paul with us. Dennis was he was previous owner of Septagon. He's been running our construction management, side of things for a long time, and we left that meeting, and Dennis goes, that Jen chick knows what's up, So he was, just as far as the process, because understanding the process is important too, and he felt comfortable, and that's another thing. That's another thing with the construction manager at risk. We're kind of, as a general contractor, we're holding the whole contract. We're a little bit at the mercy of them, working through things, and she seems to know the process and what has to be, if we get through the budgets and the budgets are high, either decisions have to be made on your end, or she understands that, hey, we have to work, contractor, designer together to lower this thing down. Does that make, that's the best way, that, Dennis kind of described it in the qualifications interview.
I'll just say that, the meetings I sat in, there was pretty thorough discussion, and I think reviews of the contractors and what they offered, and well done, and I think there was a good decision made. And the other thing is, this is, so just to reiterate, this is asking for approval for $40,000, and it would have to go to the city council for 2 readings. And if there's no other discussion, I would make a motion to approve Septagon as the construction manager for the MMU Customer Connect Center for the pre-construction phase at a cost of $40,000, and request the city council authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve Septagon as the construction manager for the MMU Customer Connect Center for the pre-construction phase at a cost of $40,000, and request that the city council authorize the mayor to sign the contract. If there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Joe, for being here and kind of filling in the board on that process. Appreciate that. Next, I just have a few updates on the Marshall Energy Center. Things are moving along pretty good there. I did go by there yesterday. I could see they're still putting some of the electrical and things in before they pour the floor for that phase 1 turbine building, and looked like they were getting along pretty good. And I think, Joe, you may jump in here as well. I think it's on the schedule to start building erection next month. So that's moving along fairly good. We also had in our weekly meeting with contractors, engineers, and everything, Drew with Mudmuck brought up the need for additional storage. So they're looking at potentially putting up a temporary structure in that gravel lot on the south side of the old Preston building to store some things that need to be out of the weather. I think that building's pretty full right now, but they're working on that need and taking a look at that. One of the big pressing issues on this project right now is the interconnect agreement with Panhandle. We're trying to get that wrapped up. I had a call yesterday, and we're trying to set a meeting up with Panhandle Tuesday to kind of get through that the interconnect agreement, and that's really key. Panhandle needs 6 months to get that project completed or get the improvements made at the take point. And Municipal needs those turbines scheduled to be online in September, so we can count them towards some capacity. If they can't meet that timeline, there's going to be an approximate cost of $3 million to the pool to secure that capacity for the following year. So they're really kind of on a crunch there. I did visit with the city yesterday, talked to JD, and just kind of gave him a heads up. We may need to fast track this, and he was going to visit with the council and let them know. But hopefully after next Tuesday's meeting, we'll have something agreed to and get that thing moving forward. Just a couple of other updates. I do have a meeting with Joe Hagendepper for Independence early next week to kind of go over what they did for the data center that they're having. We do have a request for a small one, but I'd kind of like to get some thoughts from him on how theirs worked before we do too much more work on that. Did have the legislative session did start. MPUA staff had their first legislative meeting. There's, as usual, there's over 1,000 bills, if not 2,000 bills, that have been put forth. And the MPUA legislative team does track those, and they're tracking about 100 bills, give or take, that we have interest in, bills related to net metering, solar, broadband, sewer. So there's a lot of that stuff that they monitor for us and are keeping an eye on. I try to follow those, and we'll certainly, if there's anything that we see that might pass, that might be worrisome, I'll be sure to pass that along. MSDC, I didn't put anything in the board packet, but we did approve our budget at this week's meeting. Monty Fenner with the county reported the sewer plant construction is approximately 60% complete, and the visitor center is about 50% complete. So progress is being made there as well. Hopefully you guys received the email. I sent out an email yesterday. Hopefully answered some of the questions that came up when we discussed water rates at the work session. So that's about all I have to add. Be happy to try to answer any questions.
The turbine that was damaged, say it clipped an overpass.
Yeah, they're in shipping.
Is it significant damage? I mean, do you have any concerns?
No, it was, I think, so it was kind of packaged in plywood and stuff, and Jared might be able to add a little bit more. He's actually put eyes on it. Jared, is there, you kind of
the damage is
help me out with that one?
It's more to the top of the container.
Okay.
That they're not too worried about, but it did knock some stuff down on the turbine. I don't think there's anything really a big concern, but they want to have their people come in and really look things over, make sure everything's good.
They spent 2 days having insurance, 5, 6, half a dozen insurance adjusters come in. Insurance adjusters come in for in UPA, came in for Solar, insurance, the trucking company and insurance people come in. But my understanding is it's there's an enclosure around that turbine, and like if it would have been pouring down rain or something, they were actually more concerned about any moisture and stuff getting in there than they were, pieces of cardboard or particle board OSB getting down in there. But what they're going to do is once we get the roof on, they're actually going to bring Brodesson cranes in, and they're going to lift that lid off of there, and they've already sourced a new roof for this thing to bring in, because what happened was the flange where the exhaust comes out is what caught the bridge or whatnot. And so, but yeah, once we get the roof on, get it, semi-climate, get the weather off of it, that's when they'll come in, they'll pull that roof, they'll inspect it, and then they'll put the new roof back on. So their hopes is they're their main thoughts and their analysis was it was just the roof structure that had the damage, and it wouldn't. And the way Drew talked is it wouldn't, wouldn't affect their, Drew and his legal team went through all the steps to make sure that by accepting the package, that's what took so long for it to sit on the road, was they wanted to make sure that by accepting the package damage, it would not in any way affect MEPA's warranty. That's kind of the way I said it in quite a few meetings over that. So okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Anything else, Jeff?
No, just be happy to answer any questions. And
Hey, Jeff,
yeah,
do we need to take any action on the lagoons?
that's up to you guys. If you feel like you've got a decision made, then you may want to go ahead and do that. And then I know that doesn't come up for a while, but at least they would know and be able to plan for whatever they need to.
Reach the decision.
Yeah. Just not wrote down in front of me so I can read it off.
Make a motion not to donate water to fill the lagoons.
Second.
You need a motion, or we just need a consensus.
Probably just a consensus would be fine.
Consensus, yeah.
I think our consensus is no.
I agree. I think
Okay.
we all reached an agreement that we do not want to donate water to fill the lagoons at the waste treatment plant at the junction.
That work?
Yeah, no, if that's what the board's decision is, I'll be sure to pass that along and let them know.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. See, the all-in cost is still a little high.
Yeah, I'm working on the annual report, and our cost was up a little bit last year, probably the highest we've had. Tony's working with staff at MPUA to kind of see what was behind that and kind of where things are going, and kind of waiting on that information to finalize the annual report. But yeah, unfortunately, I think higher wholesale costs are in our future.
We're also going to see an increase in our credits, aren't we?
Yeah, our capacity credits are really going to go up pretty substantially. They will be performance-based, so it's more important than ever to make sure we're doing the maintenance and making the investment in those units to keep them reliable. And I think Garrett's staff does a very good job of that. So, and I think that some of that, and that's really going to be one of the reasons we see higher wholesale costs. All the member-owned units will see an increase in capacity credits, which raises costs for everybody. But since we're receiving those credits, that will more than offset, the increase that is created there. But Tony and I talked kind of a little bit about, how much we want to put back for the units, and we're still kind of working on those discussions.
No pressure,
We also have the annual report for electric production. Everybody had a chance to kind of look through there. See if you have any questions, pin Jared down.
I just said, yeah, nice report, thank you. I was just curious, so I think I did read in here somewhere that there's maybe the thought that you start them up monthly rather than quarterly.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I kind of like the idea. I feel a little more confidence in, knowing each month that they're running rather than, the way they did it before, you did it every quarter and they call on the first of this quarter and the end of the next quarter, so it's possible to go almost 6 months before you run on some of those units. That's a long time for them to sit and not run, so I kind of like the idea of checking them out more frequently.
No, I support what Derek's wanting to do there. I think that will go a long way to helping our reliability, and performance on the capacity credit side.
Like, create a situation where you find a problem before it becomes a bigger problem.
Any other questions on the report? If not, thanks, Jerry. Next, scheduled board meeting is Wednesday, January 28th. Does that work for helps everybody? You got to do cash disbursements.
Thanks for
Energy
rescheduling
bill
this
FO.
meeting. 28th works for me.
Cash disbursements. Everybody had a chance to look at those?
Tony didn't do real good this month.
No?
Yeah, it was below 2 million, so I guess I can't be too hard on him.
Make a motion to approve cash disbursements.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve cash disbursements. If there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Any other business? Joe, thank you for coming this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed?